Okay, that last video was a bit long, so I'll make sure I keep this one short. We're going to look at just setting the value of a variable and then changing it. So I'm going to get rid of all my stuff so far, and I'm going to create a couple of integers. Ooh. Okay, they're green underlined. If you see something with a green underline, you can ignore it. It's suggesting that something might be wrong rather than telling you that something is wrong, which might be a blue or red underline. So I created two variables, but I haven't given it a number yet. I haven't assigned any value to these variables. At the moment they've been created, when the program runs rather, they'll be created and there will be a storage area in memory for storing them. But there's nothing in them at the moment. So let's say number 1 is 7 and number 2 is 13. So to assign a value to a variable, you use the equals operator. In programming terms, that's called the assignment operator. Looks like an equals to us. It's not an equals. An equals is a question, really, in computing. Is something equal to something? This isn't. This is an assignment. It's give the value of. So you could read this as number, or rather than give, get. Number 1 gets the value of 7. So I can write that out as a comment. This means number 1 gets the value of 7. And the second one hopefully makes sense. Number 2 gets the value of 13. So at this stage we've created two variables, one for storing integers called number 1, one for storing integers called number 2. We've then said, well, put number 7 into that variable, so the number 7 is being stored in that variable, and let's store the number 13 in this variable. Okay. That's great. Now let me display the two of them added up. Number 1 plus number 2. So all that says is write to the screen. Now in this case I'm not putting any text in. I might after this just to make it look a bit neater, but I don't need to put text in here. It doesn't have to be text. I can just do a calculation and display the answer. So this will add number 1 to number 2 and it will display the answer, which hopefully is 20. And there we go. So you can see that what's happened is it's added these together. Now it's important that it hasn't changed the value of number 1 or number 2. So number 1 still stores 7 and number 2 still stores 13. All it's done is add the two values together. We can make it a little bit nicer by saying the total is very similar to what we've done in the past with the brackets, but in this case I'm not putting just the contents of a variable, I'm doing a calculation and storing it in there. So the comma and then the calculation, and that will be displayed. If we run it, there we go, the total is 20. What I'd like you to try to do is to do a console.writeLine which will display the value of number 1 added to the value in number 2 and then display the total. So it will display something like this. On the screen it would look like this: 7 plus 13 equals 20. So see if you can do that by using the variables and the text. So it can be similar to the example in the previous video where we had the multiple variables on the same line. Have a bit of a play around, see if you can do it. If you can't do it with multiple variables, use it with console.write. Just do a series of console.writes. See if you can get that done.